Late night, North Austin, Texas, a strip mall parking lot on West Anderson Lane. The kind of place you've driven past 100 times without a second thought. Nail salons, small businesses, ordinary life. But tonight, September 10th, 2024, at 10:59 p.m., something is very wrong. A 911 call has just come in. A man is trying to break into businesses. He's holding a rock, and the caller thinks. They're not sure, but they think he might have a gun. Within 2 minutes, Austin Police Department officers are on their way. What follows is 14 minutes of Bodycam footage that will test everything these officers were trained to do. And it ends in a way that nobody wanted. To understand what happened on West Anderson Lane that night, you need to understand the call that started it all. At 10:59 p.m., Austin 911 received what's called a prowler hotshot, a top priority call. A business owner, watching their security cameras remotely, spotted a man trying to break into multiple businesses in the 1700 block of West Anderson Lane. The man was later identified as Franklin Earl Miller, 59 years old. The caller told dispatch they could see Miller on camera holding a rock. They also reported something more alarming. It looked like he might have a gun tucked into his waistband. That detail, possible gun in waistband, changes everything about how officers approach this call. It means this is no longer just a burglary. It means every officer responding has to treat this as a potentially lethal encounter from the moment they arrive. The Austin Police Department dispatched officers immediately. Within 2 minutes of that 911 call, officers were rolling to the scene. At 11:11 p.m., 12 minutes after the call, officers arrived and made first contact with Franklin Miller. What they found when they got there set the stage for everything that followed. Officer Daniel Jauregui's body cam activates as he approaches the scene. The parking lot is lit by commercial lighting, not bright, not dark, the kind of in-between visibility that makes situations like this harder to read. Miller is visible almost immediately. He's standing in the parking lot near the businesses. He's not running, he's not hiding, he's just there. Officers make contact and issue their first commands. Simple, clear, standard. Put your hands up. Miller does not comply. What the body cam captures next is Miller making what APD later described as sudden and exaggerated movements. He's not attacking, he's not fleeing, but he's not listening either, and his hands keep moving toward his waistband. Officers can see something there, an object. It looks like a gun. The commands continue. Hands up. Don't reach for the waistband. Show us your hands. Over and over. Calm, professional, persistent. Miller does not comply. At approximately 11:20 p.m., 9 minutes after arrival, the situation escalates. Officers observe Miller gripping what is now clearly a pistol in his hands. Not in his waistband anymore, in his hands. The dynamic has changed completely. This is no longer a possible weapon. This is a confirmed weapon, in the hands of a non-compliant subject who has been ignoring commands for 9 minutes. And still, the officers do not fire. Instead, they continue de-escalation. Put the gun down. Put it down now. Don't raise it. Put it on the ground. 5 more minutes pass. 5 minutes of officers holding their positions, weapons drawn, giving commands to a man with a loaded gun who is not listening. In law enforcement training, this level of sustained de-escalation under lethal threat is exceptional. Most use of force incidents are measured in seconds. This one is measured in minutes, 14 of them. At 11:25 p.m., Franklin Miller raises the gun in the direction of the officers. 5 officers discharge their firearms simultaneously. A 6th officer deploys a pepperball launcher at the exact same moment. The shooting lasts seconds. Then, silence. Officers immediately move toward Miller. Not away, toward him. They begin rendering life-saving measures, CPR, direct pressure, everything they're trained to do for a man who just pointed a gun at them. They do it. At 11:30 p.m., Austin Travis County Emergency Medical Services arrive and take over medical care. At 11:33 p.m., Franklin Earl Miller is pronounced deceased. No officers were injured. No members of the public were injured. Franklin Earl Miller was 59 years old. Born December 3, 1964. The Austin Police Department has not publicly released details about his background or what brought him to that parking lot that night. What the body cam shows is a man who was in clear distress. His movements, erratic, unpredictable, non-compliant, suggest someone who was not acting rationally. Whether that was the result of a mental health crisis, substance use, or something else entirely, we don't know. What we do know is that he was someone's family member. He had a life before that parking lot, and the way that life ended, surrounded by police officers who spent 14 minutes trying to avoid exactly that outcome, is a tragedy. It doesn't make the officer's decision wrong, but it makes the whole incident worth sitting with for a moment before we move on. Following the shooting, the Austin Police Department initiated 2 concurrent investigations, standard protocol for any officer-involved shooting. The first, a criminal investigation, conducted by APD's Special Investigations Unit, in conjunction with the Travis County District Attorney's Office. The second, an administrative investigation, conducted by APD's Internal Affairs Unit, with oversight from the Office of Police Oversight. All 6 officers were placed on administrative leave. Per standard APD protocol, this is not a punishment. It is standard procedure for any officer involved in a shooting, regardless of circumstances. The body cam footage was released publicly on September 25, 2024, 15 days after the incident, in accordance with APD policy. The officers involved ranged in experience from 4 months to 6.5 years with the department. Several of them had been on the job less than a year, and yet every one of them held their position for 14 minutes, following de-escalation protocol, before the situation forced their hand. There are 3 things about this body cam footage that law enforcement trainers will point to when they study this case. First, the patience. 14 minutes is an extraordinarily long de-escalation attempt for a subject who is armed and non-compliant. These officers chose to wait. Second, the restraint after the shooting. The moment the threat was neutralized, officers moved immediately to render aid. Not to step back, not to walk away, to help the man who had just pointed a gun at them. That says something important about their training and their character. Third, the cost of that restraint. Those 14 minutes gave Miller 14 minutes to put the weapon down. He did not. And the question that follows, every incident like this, is one that has no easy answer. When every option has been tried, and one person is still holding a gun, pointed at officers, what else could have been done? That question doesn't have a simple answer. It's why incidents like this one deserve to be documented, discussed, and understood. On September 10, 2024, 6 Austin Police Department officers responded to a parking lot on West Anderson Lane. They spent 14 minutes trying to end a situation peacefully. They did not succeed. Franklin Earl Miller was 59 years old. The officers who responded that night ranged from 4 months to 6.5 years into their careers. The Bodycam footage exists, the investigations are ongoing, and the full truth of what happened and why is still being written at Police Lens Files. We cover these cases because they matter, because the people involved on every side of the camera are real, and because understanding what happened is the first step toward making sure we respond better next time. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what happened that night in Austin, subscribe. We release new cases every week, every one of them documented, every one of them real.